Okay, today we're doing Module 7, Graphs of Nonlinear Functions, F.BF.3, Level 1 through 3 Reteach. Suppose 2, 3 is a point of the graph of y equals f of x. Name the point after each transformation and describe the transformation. So here's the first thing I need to tell you. I gave you some hints because this really helps me. I know it's kind of confusing. So if it's a horizontal stretch, you know it's going to be a fraction. If it's a horizontal compression, we know it's going to be a whole number. If it's a vertical compression, then we know it's a fraction. And if it's a vertical stretch, it's a whole number. So you might want to write those hints down as we go through this page to kind of help us out. So I see a 4 right here. I see that it's a big number. So I know it's going to be a horizontal compression by a factor of 4. So how do I get that number? So I'm going to take that, and if it's a horizontal compression, that means we're going to be changing our x value. So I'm going to take 2 times 1/4, and that's going to get me 1/2. And then I'm going to leave the 3 alone, and that would be my answer. So 1/2, comma 3. Now this one is negative, so I know it's going to be reflected and by a factor of 2. So when I'm going to do the reflection of a factor of 2, so what am I going to do? I'm going to take this number right here, the 3, and I'm going to multiply it. So it's negative 2 times 3. So my answer would be 2, comma, negative 6. Now this one looks like a pretty easy one. This is more like a translations. So I know that this is always my x value, this is always my y value. However, x is always the opposite. So if I see a plus 3, I know it's always going to be a minus. So I would say, it's a translation 7 units down, and it's translated 3 left and 2 units down. And this one is just a translation of 5 units down. And for this one, if I'm going to move it, my answer would be negative 1, 1. And my answer for this one, by just moving the translation over, would be 2, comma, negative 2. So let's take a look at the next couple. We're going to describe these. Whoops. Let's see if I can do that. So if I take a look here, I am going to describe this one. And if you take a look at here, I'm just going to move it down. I think it's just easier if we do it this way. So I see this blue one, and I'm going to move it up. So I'm compressing the vertically by a factor of 2. So it's getting wider, and translating 3 units up. So I went up 3 spots. This one, I know that I had to reflect over the x-axis from the original. Now remember, this is here, and then I reflect. I stretched it by a factor of 2, and then I translated 5 right and 3 down. And the next one, I reflected, and I can tell that by a negative. I reflected over the x-axis. I know I translated 4 units down because remember, it's always the opposite. And then I translated, and this is my y, and I translated 3 units up. Again, for this one, I'm going to do a vertical stretch of 5, and it's translated 2 right, because remember, it's always the opposite. This is my x, and 11 down. So let's kind of take that all and put it all together. Write an equation of the following transformations. A quadratic. It's a reflection over the x-axis, vertical translation 2 units up, and horizontal translation 3 units left. So I know it's going to be a y. If it's reflected, it's a minus. When I do quadratics, I know there's always a 2 here, and it says for this one, it's going to move horizontal 3 units left. So if I want left, it's going to be the opposite. So it's going to be plus 3 in my mind. And then translate it 2 units up. So a plus 2. So the next one, it's linear. Again, I start with y. It's a horizontal compression. So compression means what again? Let's go back up here if we don't remember. Compression means it's going to be a whole number, not a fraction. So compression equals 4x, and it goes down, so that's a minus 7. An absolute value. It's reflected over the x-axis, so we know it's going to be a minus. A vertical stretch by 3, translated 4 units, left 4 units, and translated 5, down 5 units. So it's a vertical stretch. Again, if you need to remember, a vertical stretch is going to be a whole number. So I know it's not going to be a third, it's going to be a whole number, so it's a 3. And then I'm going to put my absolute value sign, translate it 4 units left, it means it's going to be a plus 4 in 5 units down. So a square root, so y equals stretches vertically, so that means it's going to be a whole number again. We just talked about that on the last one, 4. Then translated 3 units up in 5 units, and in 3 units, left 3 units and up 5 units, cannot speak. So if I say left, I know it's going to be an x plus 3 plus 5. Thanks for listening and have a fantastic day.